And I want to talk about Kirby and the Forgotten... Actually, I forget the name of the game, but Kirby and the Forgotten World. In Japanese, it's called Kirby Discovery. It had new DLC, and it looks amazing on the Nintendo Switch 2. I'll be honest, it looks better than Donkey Kong Bananza, in my opinion. It looks really good. It feels like a traditional Kirby game, only in 3D. Now, my point here is, this DLC is better than Bananza because it feels like Kirby. It feels faithful to Kirby, but it's just in a 3D realm. Now, Kirby has always been a 2D game. There's one 3D kind of game on the N64, but it's always been like a 2D game. So has Donkey Kong Country. Kirby in the Forgotten World, or Realm, or whatever it's called, really feels like a 2D Kirby game, but like in this 3D space. Why the fuck couldn't they try to do that for Donkey Kong? I think it's because like Nintendo wants to be faithful to Kirby, but they don't really want to be faithful to Donkey Kong, and that doesn't really make sense.
The thing about it is, I've said this before, you could make a 3D Donkey Kong just based off of DKC alone. Take Orangutan Gang, for example. Like, there's so many bonuses in that where, you know, there's different layers with the treetops and everything. If you were to make that 3D, you can see the 3D scope of like the wall, and then you can throw a barrel at the wall and get secrets, and then, you know, grab tires and pull tires and jump onto treetops and then see like the Donkey Kongs throwing. Can you imagine that shit in 3D? It'd be really cool. I think DK in 3D like that would be really amazing. Just a DK platformer where you could swing on vines and ride mine carts and swim like in DKC, and animal buddies and things like that. Even if you were just to do a complete remake of the first game, you could still get the core mechanics down. That would make it a phenomenal experience. And of course it wouldn't be a remake, but if you were to do that as just a base to get started, I really do believe that they could do something tremendously cool with Donkey Kong that would satisfy everybody. And I know Bananza satisfies a lot of people, but it's at the end of the day, for me personally, I just don't want to hang out with the 13-year-old Pauline, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone asked me in the comments when I posted my review, they said, well, what would you want from a 3D Donkey Kong game? And I'm like, just make a fucking normal 3D Donkey Kong game first. And if it doesn't work out, then fucking make Bananza. But why do you jump to Bananza now when you haven't tried a real 3D Donkey Kong game? And no, Donkey Kong 64 doesn't really count. That's so long ago. It wasn't that great of a try. They didn't really try as well as they could have. And you know how I know that? Because Banjo-Kazooie was better. So, you know, if Banjo-Kazooie is better, it's like they didn't try as hard.
I don't think it's that they didn't try as hard necessarily. I just think that it's just they did something different with DK64. And, you know, they were also the Kazooie team was working on 2E as well, from what I remember. So I'm assuming that DK64 was a different team. I used to know all this shit growing up, but I forget it all now. But I know for sure, though, that DK64, though, they did do a lot of... I mean, think about it. They had to build a DK game. When it's something like DK64, that's a huge triumph. How are you going to do that? And so they just did what they did at the time. But I don't think it's a good base to say, well, DK64 sucked, but what's wrong with Bananza? When we could say, but DK64 wasn't a 3D DKC. It was its own thing.
Here's the thing. Like, when they make a bad Yoshi game, they don't go, okay, I guess we're never going to make another Yoshi game in that style again. They didn't just say, you know, that game kind of sucks, so we're not going to make it anymore. So yeah, Donkey Kong 64, some people don't like it. I don't really like it. But doesn't mean you have to stop trying just because of one attempt. How long ago? That was like 25 years ago or something? The new Kirby DLC is basically faithful Kirby gameplay in 3D. Donkey Kong Bananza easily could have been like that. I know they wanted to do something different, but why not try something traditional first?